Hello, welcome to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith, and today I'm sharing my October TBR. Wait a second, it's October? Well, this will never do. Whew, that's better. Did I make a tiny witch hat just for that bit? Yes, I did. Right, let's go on with what I'm planning on reading in October. Now, October's a bit of a complicated month because we're gearing up for NaNoWriMo, which, in case you haven't heard of it, is National Novel Writing Month. National? NaNoWriMo. It must be National Novel Writing Month. I don't really know. Basically, the goal is to write 50,000 words in November, which is what I'm planning on doing. I'm doing some prep for that in October, which hopefully I will have videos about at some point soon when I film them. What that boils down to is I'm trying to limit the amount of reading I plan for this month so that I have more time to do other things such as prep for writing. So I have a few books on my list that are arcs that I need to read. I have a few books that are research books that I'd like to read, and the rest I'm kind of leaving a bit free. I've read 20 books a month for the last 2 months. I think I'm going to probably drop that down to maybe 15, but we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to work through quite a lot of books that I don't have physically, because next month's a bit of a NetGalley month. So I'm going to shuffle this way so that Mia and her tiny witch hat are still visible, but I can also put the cover images up. So first up I have a book that I talked about in my August book haul, I think. So it's actually 2 books. It's a series. I have the Wendy and the Navigator, which are, I think, Peter Pan sequels, retellings, Peter Pan inspired. It's the Wendy from Peter Pan, but pirates. I don't know what to think about these. They're indie fantasy, so it's a little bit hit or miss. We shall see how they go. Next up is The Deathless Girls by Kieran Millward Hargrave. I talked about this again. A lot of these I will have talked about in my August book haul because August was a ridiculous month for hauling books. Why is my brain not working? I wasn't a huge fan of Girl of Ink and Stars, which is one of her big books. I haven't read The Way Past Winter, but I think is her. I might be wrong. I'm not going into this with a huge amount of optimism. But willing to try it out, willing to see. It could be absolutely exceptional. All I've really heard about it is the book is beautiful, which isn't always a selling point for me, says the woman who bought the Six of Crows special edition. Next up I have Slay by Brittany Morris. So this book's described as Black Panther meets Ready Player One, which sounds really, really interesting to me. I have a lot of thoughts about Ready Player One that you can read a blog post about. I'll link that below if I remember. I think this could be really interesting, or it could be another VR, AR game book that kind of tanks after the concept gets through, but we'll see. Next up is The Black Hawks by David Ragg. This book cover is really clearly quite similar to another book I loved, which the name of which I can't remember. I'm still a little bit sick, so you'll have to forgive me if my brain isn't working at full capacity. I'll put the cover up here and maybe like put the editing Judith, can you put the name of the book I'm thinking of on the screen, because I can't remember. This book is for fans of Joe Abercrombie and Scott Lynch. I've only read one Joe Abercrombie book, but I've read all of the Gentleman Bastard series and I really, really liked those. So I'm interested in this. I've been reading a lot more adult fantasy lately, going in with an open mind. Next up is Into the Crooked Place, which is from the author of To Kill a Kingdom, Ali Christo. This is being published by Hotkey. I really liked her first book. I'm interested to see how this book goes because the first book had such a kind of hooky concept of it's such a hook concept of It's a Little Mermaid but sirens, whereas this doesn't have quite the same quick concept elevator pitch kind of feel. I think that it'll probably be very, very good. It'll be a nice quick win this month. Next up I have Renée Adier's The Beautiful, which I'm interested in. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to feel about it because I really liked The Wrath and the Dawn and The Rose and the Dagger, and Flame in the Mist and Smoke in the Sun I kind of could take or leave. So it'll be interesting reading this. I've been reading Josie Jeffries' Sovereign series, which is up here, and I really like that. So like having a bit more vampire in my life can't hurt, right? Maybe it'll get me ready for Empire of the Vampire, which is the worst book title. J. Crystal, what are you doing? Next is another hugely anticipated release. This is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, which is actually coming to Oxford in October, I think. Might be later in the year. But I cannot be bothered to deal with tens of thousands of Screaming Grisha fans, so that's not going to happen for me. No, I really liked Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I was less keen on the Grisha trilogy, and I'm interested to see how her writing for adults goes, especially since Gollancz have since added more of the content warnings that they probably should have added previously to this book, which I know is quite intense and dark, but not in like that, oh, it's a bit dark kind of way, but like it gets to weird places. I have friends who've DNF'd this because it got a bit dark. So going in with that in mind, I'm interested to see how it goes. On to a book that has been on my TBR for quite some time. This is The Grace Year by Kim Leggett. So I think this book is another, it's not quite The Handmaid's Tale, but clearly the person writing it has read The Handmaid's Tale. Girls are banished at 16 to the northern forest to brave the wilderness. I'm all here for survivalist fantasy. I think that'll be survivalist fantasy. I'm all here for this. I think it sounds interesting. Grace Year is The Handmaid's Tale meets Lord of the Flies. Both books that I like the idea of. Lord of the Flies was somewhat ruined for me because I had to study it in secondary school. Handmaid's Tale, I do think it was really good. I think it has a lot of problems that people don't acknowledge because it's Handmaid's Tale. Yes, looking forward to reading this. Looking forward to ticking this off my TBR. It's so good to get one of those like really old books off your TBR. Exciting. Next up is Doing Time by Jodie Taylor. I met Jodie Taylor with a friend and her mum at Yalp 2 years ago. I'd never read her series, which is I don't know what the series is called. Again, editing Judith, can you put it up on the screen? But they're like time travel Oxford College vibes, which sounds really cool. But she's written a new book called Doing Time, which is out 17th of October. Let's find out what it's about. So yeah, it's time travel, time police. There were some time wars. Time police must save the future. Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds good. I think it'll be funny, I'm hoping, which I could use some funny. I'm on the search for a really good time travel book, and I've yet to find one that I actually think is good. So we'll see how that goes. Speaking of time travel, I have The Future of Another Timeline, which was sent to me by the lovely people at Orbit. This is by Annalee Newitz, and it will not show on camera, but this is one of the most neon books ever. So, in a world that's just a step away from our own, time travel is possible, but war is brewing. A secret group is trying to destroy women's rights. If they succeed, only a small elite will have the power to shape the past, present, and future. This sounds really interesting. The author looks really cool as well. Oh, and she wrote Autonomous. Did I read Autonomous? I'm going to have to go back and see if I did. Editing Judith, tell me if I did and if I liked it. But yeah, this looks cool. Thank you, Orbit, for sending it to me. Going to read that this month. Then we have Deep Light by Frances Hardinge. I've talked about this before. Oceans, Gods, Stories. Love Frances Hardinge, love her writing. Haven't read everything she's written yet, but planning to when I have the time and energy. Yeah, just really excited to read that. Then I have my 3 books that are for research that I think I might have talked about in a blog, maybe? But yes, research. We've got Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by Caitlin Doherty, which is her memoir of her time working at a crematorium. Medieval Bodies by Jack Hartnell, which is Life, Death and Art in the Middle Ages, which I think looks really cool. Like, the cover alone is rad. And then we have Raising the Dead, The Men Who Created Frankenstein, which is all about the early craze of trying to resurrect the dead, which I think is badass. So yeah, those are my research. That is 15 books. And I do also have a bunch of library books that I really need to finish. Oh, they're all the way over there. I think there are 2 of them. I think I have 2 library books that I have to read before the 18th. So there'll be those as well. So even though I am a little bit sick, and sick of being sick already, and it's only been like 2 days, I'm really excited for all the reading to be done in October, all of the writing prep to be done in October, all of the things I'm doing in October. It's going to be a good month, and I'm excited to bring you along on this journey. So if you would like to come on this journey of reading with me, if you would like to keep hearing about what I'm reading, what I'm not reading, that's interesting too, and all that jazz, feel free to like this video, to subscribe, to share it. You can follow me on all of my socials, and I will see you in the next one.